Hi and welcome to the channel. Now today's video is about these old capacitors. There's a couple of power supply capacitors here as well. These are 50 years old, these capacitors, so I thought it would be interesting to see how far these are out. I've got some new ones to kind of compare them to in a way, just to kind of give you an idea where this meter is, because these are cheap meters off of eBay. Some people say they're not that accurate, so we're going to see how accurate they are, kind of thing. I'm going to give you a kind of like a yardstick by these, and we're going to see how far out these capacitors are here. And it's worth hanging around because some of these are well out. But so what brought this about? So I'll give you a little bit of a background story really. These are all come out of a 50-year-old Sansui 200 receiver. And they only come about really because I'm going through my collection and I've got to get rid of some stuff. And it's a receiver that I've got a box for. I do like the sound of it. I think it's a great little receiver for 5 watts a channel. It's quite a rare receiver as well, so anyone collecting Sansui stuff who's actually collecting it may be interested in it as well. I only paid £40 for it, but I thought I'd chance my arm because Sansui is going up in price now. Some of the stuff's doubled in price nearly, especially towards the lower end items, the small wattage items, amplifiers and receivers. So I thought, yeah, I'll chance me arm, put it up for 100 quid on eBay maybe. It's all boxed and everything, so I thought, you know, someone may buy that. It's still a pretty good, pretty good buy, I think, £100. And what I was thinking about, I thought, well, I've got a couple of power supply caps. I thought maybe while I've got it, I may be able to squeeze one more last video for the channel on this particular receiver, just by changing the not the output, the power supply caps. And the ones they've got in there are 1,000 microfarad caps. Here they are here. And I thought what I'd do is I'll double them up. I've got a couple of 2,200, or just over double actually, 2,200 microfarad caps. I thought I'd stick them in and report back. I'll be able to say, you know, people say this has more bass, has a little bit more definition. It definitely helps, gives it a bit more guts kind of thing. And also like a bit more dynamic, that kind of thing, you know, that kind of stuff. But don't forget, this is only 5 watts a channel, so just don't get carried away here. But, you know, I thought, well, I'll stick them in there and kind of report back what difference that's make. I thought may make an interesting video for the channel. And I've got to own my hands up. I put the new capacitors in, 2,200 microfarads against these 1,000. And to be honest with you, as far as I could tell, I could not hear one difference at all. I thought, well, that's made no difference at all. But they're in there now, and I shall sell it saying that it's been new power supply caps been put in. And it still stands quite a nice unit. It's a nice sounding unit kind of thing. It's made no difference to the sound at all, but it's, you know, it's a nice sounding unit, and there you go. And I was going to stop there, and I thought, oh, I've got quite a few capacitors laying around the house. I thought, I wonder if I could do a full recap, but alas, I couldn't at the moment. I've run out of capacitors, and that's what's brought me onto this video here, because these are the ones I've actually taken out so far. If we just look at a picture there, I'll just show you a picture of where I am now with this amplifier. I'm going to tell you what it sounds like as well, compared to what it used to sound, just by replacing these capacitors so far. I say just these capacitors, let's just go through them quickly. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 12, 13, 14, 15 capacitors taken out so far. Now 3 of them, as you may look, just putting pictures up again, are actually in the tuner circuit, so maybe we won't count 3 of them there in the tuner circuit, but I'm going to tell you all about it towards the end because it has made a difference. So what I'm going to do is just, here's another one here, so it's 16 caps because there's one actually attached here. I'm just going to verify this kind of meter, give you a ballpark figure on this meter. You might be interested, and we're going to start picking a few caps up. You're going to have to trust me on the values here, though I will hold them up to the camera. Hopefully you can see that's a 1,000 microfarad capacitor. Hopefully you can. You may have to zoom in or whatever. I don't know what you can do, but I'm not going to take pictures of all of them. It's not worth it, but you're going to have to just trust me. If you can't trust me, it's not worth watching. Okay, so that's a 1,000 microfarad capacitor. I've done this a few times just to make sure the values don't differate or anything like that. They're all rock solid kind of values here I'm getting, because some people may say the leads and stuff like that. I just wanted to let you know. Put a new battery in this meter as well. Hopefully you can see that. That's a brand new one. It's reading, hopefully you can see that, 949 microfarad, a V-loss of 0.5 and the ESR of 0.07. So that's within its 10%. Ballpark figure kind of thing. These would be plus or minus 10%. I would have thought some of them plus at 5%, but this is probably 10. I know they do sell some that are 20%. So I'm just going to do another couple here, just to give you a ballpark. Hang about, because it's well worth. It's an interesting one, I think, this one. So I'm going to test this one here. Now I forgot what this is. What is this? Just this is would be around the other side, wouldn't it? This is a 330 microfarad capacitor. Hopefully you can see that on the capacitor as well. I'm not telling you any porkies, that's what they are. 306 it's reading. And you can see the others, 1.1 VLOS, 0.015 ohms. But just want to give you kind of a ballpark figure. So what we're at there, we're at nearly 10% on that. So if we go to this one here, let's look what it is first of all. This is a 220. I've got a little capacitor as well to test there. You probably can't see it. So these are all electrolytic, what I took out. So this is 220. We're going to do a little test on that, just to show where this meter's at, really. So 220, what we coming in here, Mick? 204, so that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's within range. Just about, it's probably about 12-13%, is it? Something like that. So it's not too bad. So now this one here, it's going to be a bit hard for you to see maybe, but this here is a 10 microfarad capacitor. These are very small, these capacitors these days. This is a 10 microfarad. So I just wanted to give you a big one, 1,000 up to down to a 10, just so we've got the complete range kind of thing. Because the biggest one here is 1,000 that I've took out, just to give you an idea. So this is 10 microfarad, and that's reading 9.471 or 9,471 nanofarads. ESR 2.7, VLOS 0.9. So that's that. So they're the ones, just to give you an idea where this meter sits and everything else. So we're going to get them out of the way. And first of all, we're going to go to the two big ones here, the thousands that I took out. So we're going to clip this on here, make sure we get a good contact as well. But I've done them a few times and they all read bang on kind of thing. I know the meter gives one reading 1 minute and a different reading the next. That's not the case. It's not that bad, the meter. This is 1,000. Hopefully you can see this. We're going to bring it up. And this reads 1,062 with VLOS 1.9, 0.8 ohms. So that's done pretty well, that capacitor. That's held up pretty well. That was one of the smoothing caps. So we're going to bring the other one in and we're going to read that one. Quite a big cap, so it takes just a little bit longer for it to go through. And that's reading 1429. So that's 40% out, or 40.3 nearly, 40.3% out, with a VLOS of 2.1. So that's that one there. So one's held up quite well and one hasn't quite held up so well. But bear with me because there's some other big ones coming up. This is a 470 microfarad cap. So we're going to test that, 470. It's going to be a long-winded video maybe, we're in 7 minutes in at the moment, but you may want to hang about. So 470, that's reading 583. 583 to 470, so that is over 100 out, so that's a good 20% plus out. So now we've got another 470, but this is a smaller one because it's a smaller voltage one, so we're going to test to that as well. The other one was 35 volts, this is 25 volt one, but 470 still, 470 microfarads still, and that's reading 616 microfarads, so that's quite a bit out, that one there. Like I say, I've gone through these all read the same when I do them again and again and again. It's not like this a one-off. Right, okay, let's just do this one here. I just want to go through a few. You may have flicked through, I don't know, it's up to you. But this here is a, when I can get it, this is another 470. This is a smaller one again. So what's this, 16 volt? Yep, 16 volt 470. And that reads 697 microfarad, VLOS of 4%. And the ESR 0.19. Hopefully you can read all that. Like I say, you're going to have to trust me on a few of these. This is a 220 microfarad. I will come to the end result of this amplifier. Well, not that I've completed it, but how it sounds now as well. We'll be telling you that shortly. But we've got a few more to go. Quite a long-winded video, but maybe interesting. Like I say, this is 220. And that's reading 158. Was that 153? 153, my eye's not great. 153 microfarad. That's reading, that's supposed to be a 220. So that's quite a bit out in the downward direction. Now we're going to grab this one here. This is a 100 microfarad capacitor now. So we're just going to pop that on there. 100 microfarad, and we're going to test that. That reads 121, 121. So yeah, with a 20% here and there kind of thing, that's okay. Ish. okay-ish, but we've got obviously got the SR goes up. So we've got another, what we've got here, this is a 330 microfarad, 330 microfarad, and that reads 542, so hopefully you can see that, 330 microfarad, hopefully that's in your picture, and that's reading 542, so that's quite a way out, that one, isn't it? What's that, it's about 40% out, is it, something like that? And we've got this 100 microfarad here, so let's just go through this quickly. It's not a quick thing because we've got to wait for the meter. I want to do it live rather than the pictures, because people sometimes think you're cheap. It's not the case. 149 microfarad, is that? 143, my eyes again, 143 for the 100. So we're 40% out there. And of course, it probably sounds good that they're reading over kind of thing. Think, oh, we're getting a bit more capacitance there, but obviously it's not working correctly because it shouldn't read that. Probably going to alter the sound or alter something there that's, you know, anything smoothing out, anything like that, it's not doing the job properly. Now what we got here, we have got a 47 microfarad here. This is, hopefully you can see that, it's 47 microfarad. Hopefully you can see that. 47 microfarad, and that's reading 72 microfarad. So that's nearly double. Well, it's not double, is it? But it's getting there. It's getting towards double that it's supposed to be. It's a good 80%, I should imagine. So we're going to test this one here as well. This is another 47 microfarad. And we're at 78 again for that 47 microfarad, 78. Okay, we're getting there towards the end. What we got here? We've got a 220 microfarad here. Disappeared. 220, if I get the other leg. I've got a few small. I'll leave them other couple, I think, because you get the gist of it. It's just got two little ones there I'm going to measure, because they're smaller, just to give you an idea. But what we've got, 220, is this right? Let's make sure, 220. Yep, 220 microfarad there. Hopefully you can read that when it's wibbling about here. Just about read it on there. 220 microfarad, and we're reading 487 microfarad for that. So yeah, that's a bit OTT, 487 microfarad. So I'm going to leave them bigger ones. You've got the gist of it now. I just want to read these small ones. There's a couple of small ones here that are 10 microfarad. I'm just going to test one or two. Well, test them both or one. See how far this is out. If this is miles out, we'll just do the one. You're going to get a gist of it. So 10, that is 15.79 microfarad. So that's 57% out. Then we're going to do one more, that little one. We'll stop there and I'll tell you what's happened so far with the amplifier. Don't forget, I've not fully recapped it. And this is reading 16.38 for that 10 microfarad. So that's that. So I've gone through a few. I've missed a couple out there, but it's going to take too long otherwise. But anyway, how did this, you know, there's a picture of where I'm now with the amplifier again, just to recap what's happened. Excuse the pun. Yeah, so, well, you know, the sound difference, you know, since I've done them two main, you know, the power supply ones, nothing happened at all. But as you can see, I'm probably about halfway in now with the capacitor changes, and I don't think many of these, if any of them, are in the signal path yet. These are just down to ground or whatever across the supply or what, etc. It's an unbelievable difference. It really is. It's just unbelievable. I can't believe what I turned it on. And I know what kind of volume, we know where the control's got to be for the volume. For the first thing you notice is the volume's up. I mean, I put it on about number 2.5. That's where I normally put it, kind of in between 2 and 3, and it's coming up much louder. The volume is quite a lot louder, I can't say how much, but I was quite surprised what kind of volume I was getting. I had to time to double check. I thought, oh, is that on 2.5? And it is. It's, you know, dead in between. You know, normally I get it between 2 and 3, somewhere around there, to get kind of a reasonable level. Nothing's too loud for this room, kind of thing. Even though it's 5 watts, it still gives out quite a big sound. I'm using the big speakers, the TK50s by Solarvox. I started using them first of all, and the first thing I noticed straight away was how much space I had around everything. Everything was just so spacious. It was, even though this amplifier gives some space out to start off with, it's just so much space around the instruments and that, and the vocals and that, and you know, it's just like the clarity of it was improved. It was a lot more clearer. Everything was clearer and smoother. It just added a little bit more mid-range to it, I would say. Just a little bit more mid-range was added to it. Not a lot, but it was a little bit of a difference in the mid-range, just a little bit, and maybe towards the top end as well. But I was getting more detail in the top end as well. and in the bass as well. There's more detail in the bass as well, going around the kit, the tom-toms and the bass drum, snare, etc. They sounded nice. It improved the sound quite a lot, more than I was expecting. I must be honest. I was like, yeah, what's happened here kind of thing. And I'm only halfway through. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to go all the way through it and suddenly it's going to get even better, because things can suddenly turn, I think. I've been reading, lots of people saying they recap the old amp and it sounds too bright, doesn't sound right. They put all the old caps back in. It does happen. But it definitely has made a difference here, and if it just stays the same, I'm going to be happy. So I could stop where I am, stop at a winner kind of thing I've done before, but obviously I'm going to carry on. But I've got all the other parts because I haven't got them. I've still got a few caps left over, but they're not the right ones. This is just getting rid of the ones I had. By the way, all the caps I've used so far are Rubicon capacitors. Rubicon, that's what I've used, that's what I had here. So yeah, I'm very pleased with the outcome. And at this stage, so pleased that it's not for sale now. I'm not going to sell it. The idea was to get rid of it. Got to get rid of something and put it back in the box and send it off. But that's not going to happen. It's going to stay. Like I say, I'm going to do these recaps now, and hopefully they're not going to make the sound any worse. If they give me an improvement, that's going to be even more better. And I think they may do, but then they could slightly go the other way, could slightly open it up too much, could give too much detail, could kind of sling it over in the other direction. I don't know, but this has definitely made a difference without a doubt. It's no like, I did do the 331 a while ago, fully recapped. Now it is the 331. I put some power supply ones in there as well in the last couple of days, and again, that didn't really make any difference at all. Even though I doubled up again with them, they didn't make any difference, as the sound was as good as it was. But when I said that video, when I recapped it, apart from the power supply ones, I said it probably gives a 10 or 15% improvement. And that's probably what it did, to be honest with you. I can't say it went any further than that, but it definitely cleared it, just made things just a little bit more detail, made things just sound a little bit better. It wasn't a vast amount, it was just a little bit. But this is definitely like, it's hard to put a percentage on something. It's hard to put a percentage. And like I say, I like the sound of this amplifier as it was, but to give even more, well, it's great. And how much more did it give? Well, it's hard for me to say. I'm not exaggerating here. I reckon it's give 30 to 50% better. I mean, it sounds incredible, really. But I think it did. It's definitely, if you kind of trying to put a figure to a sound, it's hard. It's very hard, impossible, really. But it's given a big difference in sound here. The main thing you notice here is the space around everything. Space. You think, blimey, what's happened? I couldn't believe my ears, to be honest with you. I turned it on, I'm thinking, what's happened here? And I changed speakers. I went to my Dynaco 35s just to make sure, it's going to do the same with them. Then my little Wolfdale Diamond 3s, and great. This sounds great, this amplifier. It really does. So I'm pleased with that. So far, so good. But it could turn. I think, you can go too far sometimes and start making things worse. But as it is, it sounds great. So if I did go too far, I think I'd take any new ones I put in. But I've got an idea these other caps are going to be miles out as well, some of them. So it will be interesting. And I will come back with that video once I've ordered these parts and get them in. I'll come back and give them my final thoughts on a full recap kind of thing. But yeah, if you've got an amplifier, 50 years old, that kind of thing, I was kind of like years ago, a year or two ago, I was kind of dead against changing capacitors, and I probably would be to a certain extent. If your amplifier, my amplifier, I think that sounds great, then that's it. You're happy with it, and I'm happy with it. Well, stick where you are. That's fantastic. But it was only because I was coming to sell this, and I kind of started off with a power supply, and I thought, oh, what the heck? I've got a few capacitors. I might as well get rid of them as well. That I started doing it. It could have went the other way. It could have been sounded terrible. But for this instance, it sounded great. And really, the video really is just to show you how far some of these capacitors are out. So that's it. Until the next video, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.